Hey, this is Chris here at Traverse Creek Incorporated. Today we're going to talk about some of these parts, these upgrade modification parts that we have for the Echo CS-590. It's a super popular firewood saw. It's a great value. And there's really two saws that are still in production for this series. It's the CS-590 and the CS-620. There's some major performance differences and durability differences between the CS-590 and the 620, but with that comes maybe a $200 price difference. So Matt at GEARHEAD has developed some parts to get some of the performance gains of the 620 inside the CS-590, and then also we have a carburetor copy of the CS-620, and it works great, and a lot of guys like it and they use it to upgrade their 590. And we're going to go through all the little different details about this, about the changes that you need to make with this saw to get a little bit extra performance out of it and upgrade it overall. So first what we'll talk about here is Matt's the GEARHEAD deflector. It's a billet aluminum deflector. And it just allows more area, and there's no baffle in it that allows the exhaust to discharge at higher volume. So it's basically just like a bolt-on muffler modification. And we sell these on our website. Pretty much the only place you can find them is our website, www.sawsalvage.co. And another one of the faults with the CS-590 and the 620 is that the air filter doesn't seal up perfectly to the intake base, and you can get a lot of fine dust particles in there. And Matt developed this air filter kit, which I'm going to show you how to install it later. But this air filter kit, which seals the air filter to the base a little bit better, or a lot better, and then the fines don't sneak past and then get into the engine. So we'll show you how to install this in a little bit. And then also, this here is a flywheel key. It's a little aluminum billet machined flywheel key. And what it does is the difference between the CS-590 and the CS-620 ignition coil is two things. So the CS-590 has a rev limited coil in it, which helps from guys blowing it up, and which we can't remove. And then it also, the 620 has a ignition timing advance of, I believe, 6 degrees. So what this key does is, if you see, hold on, there we go, see how there's an offset on there? What that does is that also advances the flywheel so that you get the timing advance. So it's incompatible with the 620 ignition coil, but it's compatible with the 590. So for, I don't know, $25 or whatever we charge for this thing, you can actually get some of the gains of the 620 coil without having to buy a $100 ignition coil. And then the other is this carburetor that we sell, and it's really a fantastic carburetor. It has full adjustment with no limiter caps. And then the other difference is between this and the 590 is it has bigger venturi size of the 620, and then it also doesn't have that there's an anti-lean jet inside of the 590 carburetor, which again is like a operator safety so the guys don't blow up the saws. If you reach a speed, I think an engine speed of over 12,500 or 13,000 RPMs, what the CS-590 carburetor is designed to do is there's like a check valve inside of it, and the check valve, once it reaches like a certain engine impulse pressure, it'll just dump fuel and then richen up the mixture so that the saw can't lean seize. And as you can see, inside this carburetor, come on, focus, there you go, this is it, and it doesn't have that anti-lean jet inside of it. So these 4 items are what we use on like the modified CS-590 that we sell, but you can also do these upgrades yourself, no problem. Hundreds of guys are doing them, and a lot of people are happy with these items. So next, what I'll move into is the tools that we use, and then after that I'll show you exactly how we do it. So now we're going to talk about the tools that I use, and there's really just some basic tools that every guy has, and then maybe like a little bit of kind of specialty tools. So the first thing we use is Torx 27. So you can either use that in an impact gun, which I use, or you can use just like, you know, by hand, and that's for just like the general disassembly of the saw. 13mm socket, and then that's just for the that's just for getting the flywheel nut off. Piston stop, got to stop up the piston in order to get the flywheel nut off and then to torque it back down. Some guys use starter rope, but I don't know, I just use the piston stop. It works a lot better, it's more solid. Okay, 3/8 ratchet, carburetor adjustment screwdriver, just a flat tip with this carburetor that we sell. And here's an Optima pulse tachometer. This thing works great. You don't have to wrap a wire around the spark plug or anything like that. You just hold it there. And then a little bit of a specialty tool. This is a punch, and then I kind of flattened out the edges of it. This really helps me get the old flywheel key out because sometimes they're a little bit difficult. They don't come out easy, so I just tap it out with this. And my favorite tool, this is really an awesome one. Should have it available on sale on our website. This is actually the Echo flywheel remover. So like the Husqvarna one or the steel one, it involves using like pressure, and you apply pressure to the crankshaft and then pop the flywheel off. This one is a little bit different. So it has, if you look in there, there we go. There's like a ball bearing down inside there, and then there's all these different ends, which are, there we go. So it's for like the thread pitch and diameter. And then there's these ones here that aren't compatible with this saw, but most of the other Echo models. So it's, we have M8 by 1.25, and this one is M8 by 1.0, and then I think this is left-hand thread, LM8 by 1.0, and then this is left-hand LM6 by 1.0. This really works great for getting the flywheel off. Call it a flywheel knocker. I'm going to show you how it works in just a second. So that there is the basic toolkit that we need in order to get the job done, and I'll show you step by step what we have to do. So I got to tell you, what I'm doing is probably not the most refined process, but it works. So first we take the clutch cover off. Air filter cover comes off like this. Air filter off. That exposes the two screws that hold the carburetor in. And then the easiest way to do all of this, I kind of disassemble everything at once and then I reassemble everything at once. It really works the best for me. So first I take the brake cover off. You got to be careful because there's a little washer in there too that kind of holds like a little buffer here or whatever. So they're on both sides. You don't want to lose that. So take that off. Then we can just remove the brake handle. Okay, and then the next move is there's a screw here, there's a screw here, and then there's one here. We do that, take the top cover off, but first we have to take the spark plug boot. And you just twist it out of this little holder here. And then, well, usually I just give it one of these. And then she's out. Oh, and then I forgot, we need a 19mm socket to remove the spark plug. So we'll take that out too while we're here. Okay, she's out. Take those out. Then we can just remove the top cover. Okay. And now that gives us access to the four muffler bolts here. And then there's 4 starter bolts here. Take those off. There it is. And your flywheel shroud. And then like your spark plug wire and your kill switch wire also kind of fit neatly inside there. Whenever we put this back together, we're going to want to make sure that this kill switch wire, come on, focus. This kill switch wire right here fits back into this. Okay. Okay. Now we take the carburetor bolts out. These two. And the choke slides out. It's real nice. Hold on a second here. Take these out. Take this out. And then the choke slides out real nice. Remove that. Okay. Set that off to the side. Got our carburetor bolts. Set those off to the side. And then here's your fuel pickup line. And then this is your impulse line. This one here. So we can just remove that. And then the same with the fuel pickup. Yep, disconnected. And then here is your throttle linkage right here. All you got to do is whoop, and there goes the carburetor. Okay. For the next move, we're going to remove the flywheel. So what I do is I put this piston stop in there. Okay. You have to be careful with this. You want to make sure it's threaded in there good. If it's too loose and you really crank on it, you can strip the threads out of the spark plug hole and then you got another problem. So, take this, thread it in there nice and tight, and then since we're taking the flywheel off, just take it all the way to where it stops. And then this is 13 millimeter. And then usually it doesn't require too much force. That's it. Okay. Put that off to the side, my little magnetic dish. Now, here's this flywheel knocker I told you about. This is a really good tool. You just thread this on here. Okay. Thread it on tight. Make sure it's on there and it's set down all the way. And then all you got to do is just give it a good hit with a hammer. And that's it. And you don't have to fool around with taking the starter pawls off and then resetting the pawls or whatever. It saves a ton of time. It's a nice tool, and I like it a lot. Okay, flywheel's off. So now our next move is removal of the flywheel key. So if you take a look at this flywheel key, you'll notice that it's a little bit hard to see, but if you take a look at it. If you look, it's flat on one side and convex on the other. The convex side fits inside the crankshaft and the flat side is on the outside of the crankshaft. Okay. Now, like I said, I kind of just took this tool. It was just a regular round punch. And I ground the ends of it to be just about the same size as that flywheel key, and then I can just kind of tap it and just work that flywheel key out. It's not finesse work, but it works pretty good. I don't know if there's a good way to get the camera in there and do this at the same time. It may be a little bit difficult. Let's see if I can get a good angle here. So typically all I do is I just take this punch and I tap the end of this. and see how it's basically worked its way out. Then you can just grab it with a pair of pliers. Usually that works pretty good. There we have it. So that's it for that. Okay, now it's time to install the new one. But first, what we can do is we can compare the old one and the new one. Okay, so this here is the old one, and if you see how it's kind of got a convex side and a concave side. So the convex side fits, or a flat side and a concave or convex side. So you just want to make sure that the round part fits into the flywheel. Here we go. And then this is the new one. So this is, let's see, this is the old one, and then this is the new one. And then you can see that this offset is what creates the 6 degree of ignition advance. So we're just going to want to set this into the flywheel. Let me reset the camera here. I'm going to try and get a good view of it. It's a little bit awkward for me. So what we'll try and do is we'll think about the way that the flywheel rotates. So it rotates in this direction. And whenever we place this key in there, in that direction, what will happen is it advances the flywheel 6 degrees. So all you have to do is take this key and just place it inside the flywheel here, or place it inside the crankshaft. Sometimes it's a little bit of a tight fit. Sometimes, like I've had to like just sand it ever so lightly to just clean it up, but this one fit perfectly inside there. See? And you can just take it and remount the flywheel now. So the flywheel has a key way in it. Look and see here. Just want to take that and line it up with this. Let me see if I get a good angle of it. It's a little bit difficult here. So you just want to take this and line it up with the key. Slide there, and see how it just sets right down. And then the shaft turns at the same time as the flywheel, which is perfect. And then we just want to put the flywheel nut back on and tighten it down. And whenever you put any of this together, if you ever take a flywheel off, you just want to make sure that the shaft and everything and the inside of the flywheel is clean from any debris or grease and dry, because it is a friction fit. So you need to make sure that there's nothing there. If there's something there, it can damage the friction fit. And then we just tighten it until the flywheel is all the way down. Okay. Now this side is complete. And we can move on to the next. So what we'll do next is we're going to install the muffler deflector, and we're going to install it. We're going to leave the screen in place whenever we do it. So first we have to remove these 4 screws. It's very easy. Just remove this. Oop. And where did that one screw go? Oh boy. That figures. Oh, give me just 1 minute. We're going to have to pause this. Don't let it whip you, boy. Come on. Son of a gun. Don't tell me I got to take this muffler off because of that. Oh. Don't move. Some days are diamonds and some days are stone. Tactical surgery complete. Okay. So anyways, just leave this, we leave this screen in place, place it there. And all you have to do is take this guy, place it here. I usually set these screws up in the back ones first. And if you want, you can put the screen on there like that too. Yeah. Okay. And just get the screws started. And then the back ones, or the front ones too. And then you just want to tighten these up. You don't need Gorilla torque on it or anything, just tighten them up nice. Okay. Now that part is complete. So now we can remove the piston stop. And our next move is going to be the carburetor. So first, we just want to do it opposite of how we took it apart. So first we hook this guy up. Same thing, just there you go. And then you can hook up your fuel line, or your impulse line, and then your fuel line. Then our choke lever, just like that. Okay. And then our intake goes on. And then you could just, it wasn't perfect. Come on, you. There we go. Ah, that looks nice. Okay. And you just get the bolts through the carb. Pretty easy. I pull this out sometimes just to make it a little easier. And we just got to get our bolts started. Sometimes you hit the nail on the head the first time, and then sometimes you got to wiggle it around a little bit to get it started. Yeah, we got lucky. Maybe not. Hey, not bad when we're making a video. Usually whatever can go wrong will. Okay. Same with these, you don't have to go monster torque on them. Just tighten them up. Snug so they're not rattling out. Okay. And then we can put that flywheel shroud back on. So again, we just want to make sure that we get this wire in here properly. Everything kind of fits a certain way. Only fits one way. And then we just tuck that wire in down behind. There's little clasps that kind of hold it in place. And then if you look here, remember what I said. You want to make sure or you'll crush this. And if you damage the sheathing on that wire, then she'll ground out on you and then your saw won't have any spark because it'll be grounding out. Okay. And then same with the spark plug wire, there's little clasps. Hold it in place. Okay. Now that side's complete. We can put the starter back on. Now, usually I will run them in with the impact gun, but not torque them. I torque them by hand. So you might just run it in until you get like a light click, and then you gotta torque them by hand. If you torque it with the gun, you could mess it up and strip the holes, and then you got more work ahead of you. Okay. There you have that. And let's put the top cover back on while we're here. Okay, so whenever you put this top cover on, you just want to be mindful that the plug wire goes through here. And just make sure what I talked about down in there is still in good condition and everything. And all you got to do is kind of just tuck that guy up in there. Okay. Feels good. And same thing, just hand torque. Okay. Now for our next move, we're going to do the plug. Okay, back from the phone. So then we'll put the plug back in. Just get it started, make sure it ain't cross-threaded. And then same thing. No monster torque necessary. And then we just make sure that the spark plug wire, you can see right here, fits right up in there. And put the boot on tight until it kind of clicks. And the wire, everything's good. Just like original. Now, the brake handle's a little bit interesting. I really like the way that it goes together. I like the way the spring works. But let's just take a look. I had like a little mishap last week with this. I hadn't had a problem with one of these before, and then I kind of noticed how that goes together. So let's just look at that and consider that. Okay. So, all we have to do is put the brake handle back on, and then the work is complete. So, this side still has that washer in it, and if you look, it's kind of got like this cut out, so it fits on that arm. It's a little bit easier to install on that arm, and then the brake mechanism kind of fits up inside this thing here. So, all we got to do is just just take that, set that there. And same thing here. Okay. And now we've got it. And we just take the screw, and that little washer, put it down inside there. Ooh, we have to put the air filter kit on there too, I forgot. And then same thing, the monster torque, and then we know everything is working good if that detent works and then if the brake works. So it should automatically return to like the default position, and then brake should work. Okay, that's good. Now, see if you look here in this air filter, right here, this seals to this, but it's just plastic on plastic, and there's no like rubber or like soft connection here. So that's where the fine debris gets through, and then also how this holds in place. It's really simple and nice design, but it fits on this threaded rod and here, and you can get some fines through there. So Matt came up with this idea. It's really simple. Some guys think, oh well, you know, I could just put a couple O-rings in there. But really what's nice about this is that it's a laser cut flat washer, and it really gives an actual flat surface for the O-ring to seal to. Because like if you just put the O-ring in here, it's going to get deformed and it's not going to seal up right. So this gets, it's multifaceted, so this gives you like a flat surface to seal to, but then it also makes even plane on here for everything to seal to. Whenever you install this washer, if you look, it's a little bit hard to see, but it's not really quite the same shape, and it will only fit one way. So if you look at the shape, it really needs to fit like this, I believe. So if it doesn't fit right away, you might have to look at it a little bit closer and make sure you're got everything lined up correctly. Sometimes I have to fool around with it myself. And the tolerance is tight on the washer. But see, we're on there now. And you take the big washer here, and or the big O-ring, put it right on the washer, and then there's two smaller O-rings. One is a thin one and one's a fat one. As noted on the instructions, the fatter one goes underneath, so you put that on here. The fat one goes on here, and then the air filter goes on. And then you put this thin one on there, and then that seals all of it. And then the easiest way to get the air filter cover back on is first pull the choke out. And then take the knob and tighten it down. And then disengage the choke. Okay, now we'll go outside and we can start it. Oh, and unfortunately I wanted to say that you know, I'm on a city lot here, so I don't really have anywhere to cut wood, so usually we just set them with a tachometer, and then that's it. So I really don't have anywhere to test cut simply here at the shop. I'd have to take it home or whatever. So next up, we'll take this outside, and then we'll also take this Philo screwdriver. Works great. And one thing I do to make it a little bit simpler is there's this rubber buffer here. I just take this out for whenever I'm adjusting it, and it's easier for me that way. So I also want to say these carburetors that we sell are typically a little bit rich from the factory, so it's not a bad thing. They'll require some adjustment, but every carburetor, I don't care if you buy OEM ones, they're close, but they're not. They're still going to need some adjustment. So regular startup procedure, just on position, choke. Good thing we tested that one. It didn't start, and then I took it back apart, and it looked like I had the fuel lines not hooked up to the incorrect line, but whenever I put them in the wrong order, and then it created like a small pinch in the fuel line, so it looked like it wasn't picking up fuel. So it should start now. Yeah, see, there we go. So as we can see, on the low side it's smoking a little bit, and then on the high side it's a little bit rich as well. So what we're going to take the screws in a little bit. Let's see, just flat tip screwdriver. Take them in a little bit, and then we'll readjust from there. That's a good number. Take it a little bit lower. So we adjust the low speed for good throttle response, and then we adjust the high speed for proper RPM, high RPM. So I took the idle screw out now, and we should have pretty good idle speed. And we'll take the idle speed up just a little bit more. And that's about where we want it. Just back it off a fuzz. And we're good to go. And that's it. And then we just put the little finishing touches back on it. Tuck that bad boy back in there. Clutch cover goes back on it. There you have it. And now you have a little bit of more performance for a pretty reasonable price on your Echo CS-590.